Now, most of what we have in 12.1 is quality, though there's something great coming for C++. There's also one amazing new feature in the IDE. It's a productivity feature, one that will help you work with multiple editors and coding in multiple units, or in the designer and source code for one unit, more effectively. And that feature is split editor views. The IDE main window that you're probably familiar with has looked like this for many years. Dockable panels around the outside, and inside a single code editor space. That has tabs, so you can have many files, but only a single editor. To edit 2 files at once, you had to open a new floating editor window by right-clicking on the tab. That's great, and it's useful for multiple monitors, but over time screens have grown a lot larger, and even just a single monitor could end up with a large amount of space for the single editor. Second, something really useful for productivity is simply seeing two things at once. Now in C++, they might be seeing the header file at the same time as the CPP. In Delphi, it might be being able to edit the interface section at the same time as the implementation. Or for both, simply having two related files open at the same time, so you can check something in one file while coding in another. Or having the same file open twice, so you can edit it in two places at once. So where does this leave us? Growing monitors, lots of space, and the usefulness of working with multiple files at once. Well, it gives us multiple editors, which are called split views, because you start with a single editor in the middle of the screen and start splitting it in half. I'm just going to jump right into a demo. Here I have a project open. I right-click on the Code Editor tab and select Split to Right. When clicked, I now have the same file open on the right-hand side. This is an entirely new editor with its own set of tabs, a tab group. If I open another unit, I can drag the tab over to it, or I can even right-click a unit in the projects view and select which editor to open it in. But it's not just left and right, you can split up and down too. So let's take this new editor we created and right-click the tab and split down. Now we have 3 editors on screen. I personally find this really useful to refer to code somewhere else in the same unit while working in another part of the unit. These are tab groups and can have as many tabs as you want. It is important to save your desktop, and we made that easier this release by adding a Save button to the title bar. Otherwise, next time you change desktop, such as debugging and then going back to coding, the editors won't know where to go. So set up your layout and then save it. Tab groups can also be floating windows. I can drag this one out, or I can dock it again. Note that this is not just the code editor. I can use this to have the same unit open in both the design view and the code at the same time. Now you can have any number of editors. You can open more files, you can keep splitting. You can have the same file open any number of times if you want, and edit in any of them. Whatever you change in one editor is always up to date in the others. That's because an editor is actually a view over an underlying buffer, and there's actually only one set of text you're editing. Just lots of windows letting you edit it. But of course, one thing you might want to do is not have the same unit open twice, but move an editor or move a tab to a new column or row. Now let me close these. And you see I have 2 tabs in a single editor. I can of course split it right and then close the original. But it's also convenient just to move, so trying again, I can right-click on the tab, and this time, instead of choosing Split Right, I choose Move Right, and it opens a new column to the right, but moves the tab there. This is extremely powerful, and you can end up with any layout you want. Tab groups are actually dockable windows, so you can drag them around and split or drag to make any layout at all. Just remember to save your desktop layout. So that's editor split views. Multiple editors, or tab groups rather, side by side, or above or below, or any combination. You can edit the same file in many editors at once, and you can have the designer and code on screen at the same time. You can also undock and have floating editor windows which themselves can be split. Any arrangement of docked, floating, secondary windows, split, solo, anything is possible. This is enormously useful for productivity, mostly because it helps you see and interact with two or more things at once. It's really useful writing code in one editor while referring to code in another. I myself tend to use a simple two-column layout, just two editors side by side. I tend to hide the docked windows by clicking the Unpin button and show the projects view, for example, only when I need it by mousing over. It's also useful for coding and form designing at the same time. And we've worked on ensuring that as you have multiple editors, the focus tracking is clear, so it's always obvious which one you're typing into.